my first area was Anaco. And I remember my mission president said, okay, you're heading to Anaco. Get in a taxi and go. And I was like, what? I don't even speak the language. I mean, this is hard enough for me. And he's like, you'll do fine. Just find a taxi, pay the fare, get there. Your mission companion will meet you there. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So I remember, again, I'm by myself. I get in this taxi. Now, we're talking taxis are 1974 Chevelles, 1980 Oldsmobiles. I mean, these cars are rust buckets. They're held together by the seat belts. The floorboards got cardboard on them. There's no seat belts for everybody that they fit in the car. You're wondering if you're going to make it there alive. Gas guzzlers all the way. So I remember the APs are like, okay, here you go. Here's your car to Anaco. Have fun. And so they throw me in to this car, and I remember it was the driver, and then it was this 18-year-old girl, and then there was me in the front seat. And when we talk driving, people say Utah drivers are bad. No, that doesn't stand a chance against Venezuelan drivers. It's not unheard of that the car is driving in the lane and then up on the curb into the sidewalk, then back into the lane to get where they need to go. There are no rules. If there are, they're not obeyed. Buses are whizzing by you with people hanging out of the buses, oftentimes on the side of the bus. Then there's chickens and pigs and all sorts of things in the buses with you. Could be that way in the taxis as well. And then 3 people in the back seat. This car is loaded to the gills. And all I remember is that I was extremely tired. It had been a really long day. It had been a long flight. Just get really worn out that first day. And I was like, I'm going to fall asleep. And just my luck, I'm going to fall asleep on the shoulder of this 18-year-old girl that I'm not supposed to be that close to a girl. But, that's what happened. And I just remember waking up and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It was a good nap, though, as I drove down through the dusty places to Anaco. Anaco is a really poor town. Has 2 parts. Anaco is more rich. Ocana, spelled backwards of Anaco, is the poor. And when you talk poor, you think about the movies. We're talking tin roofs. We're talking cardboard or scrap wood. Anything that they could pick up to make their home. Electricity, very minimal. One pole would service about 200 houses, and everybody would take the chance and pull a wire from their house, and they'd shimmy up the pole and clip it on the live wire and hope that they didn't get zapped. Dirt, dusty, just poor of the poor. Open fires for cooking. Water was scarce. It just was very poor in Ocana. And that was one of the areas. And I remember when I got there, Elder Alvarino was there to meet me. And he's like, hey, good luck, good news. And he didn't speak a lick of English. And I was like, this is. And he was from Maracaibo, and he spoke very, very fast. And I was like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'll follow along because you have a tag on your shirt. Hopefully we make it in time or make it safely. And he's like, we moved into a new apartment. Let's go clean it up. And as soon as I walked into the apartment, I knew it was going to be bad because he handed me a can of Raid. And I thought, oh, geez, what's this for? And he's like, oh, we got to clean the apartment. It hasn't been lived in for months. And I was like, all right. So I go to open he's like, just start spraying. Here's a mask, start spraying. And I open up the cupboard. And I thought the cupboard was brown. I opened up, and all of a sudden the cupboard just disappeared, and it was white. And I opened up another one, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of these tiny little bugs called charipas, miniature cockroaches pretty much, just were everywhere. To say the least, that day we used 5 cans of Raid, filled up a garbage can full of cockroaches and chiripas. Pretty much fumigated our place. Let it air out. Camped outside that night on the porch just to let it air out enough. And then we had an apartment. A few highlights from Anaco. I made friends with a bird, a little parrot. Come and sit on my shoulders. I'd teach discussions. That was fun. The members were great. We baptized some really good members out of Okana. It was where I struggled the most with the language and where I grew. Okana was it was an eye-opening experience for me. I've never been in a poor area like that. Sad, really, really sad to see those people and their lives. But the thing that was more eye-opening than anything to me with the people in Okana was the happiness that they had. They didn't have anything. They weren't sure where they'd get their next food. They didn't have jobs. They tried really, really hard to make a living out of nothing. The government didn't help them out any at all. And yet they were happy. You would talk to them and they'd say, Elder Schiss, I am happy. I am grateful to be here. And those that came into the church were grateful to have a ward family. Just an amazing experience. One experience there, a couple experiences. When you talk about rain, we don't have rain in Utah. There they have monsoons. I remember walking down the dusty streets of Okana, and I asked my companion, I turned to him and said, what is that noise? And he listens for a minute, and he's like, run. And I said, run? What are you talking, run? And he's like, we don't have our raincoats. Run. Run to the nearest bodega, which is a little side store on the houses. I said, all right. And we made it there too late. The roar was rain on the tin roofs. You could hear it coming from about a mile away. And it was coming, and it came fast, and it drenched us head to foot. And by that time, we thought, oh, well, we're already drenched. Let's keep working. And we worked, and it was a river down the streets. I mean, we were walking in water up to our knees. These flash type of floods, but that was just normal. And it would just run down the river, run down the road, and then the rain would rain for, downpour for 20 minutes, completely soak everything, and then be gone, and the sun was out again. It was just craziness. So Venezuelan rain was an interesting experience.